we was watching the tournament, the women's tournament. We watching Uconn versus USC, and one thing I noticed about that game is just how much better the women's game is compared to the men's game.
As far as what?
Fundamentals. Let me tell you something. So I was watching Paige Beckers, and her ability to move without the ball, understanding stuff like that, making the right reads, making the right passes. I was just like, where's this in the men's game?
Play the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
And this is the Courtside View Podcast, and we are back today for another episode. Now, we have a lot to discuss, mainly this week, particularly because today is Saturday, WrestleMania. We also got college basketball. We also have NBA as well. So we have a lot to discuss. I want to get to the news update real quick. Number one, the hometown team, the Nationals record, they're awful. They're 2-5. Unfortunately, I watched one of their games, and it was a struggle. It felt like torture. Bad pitching, errors, left and right. They were taking advantage of the middle of the field. It was atrocious. What is your reaction to the Nationals real quick? I mean, we spoke about them last week, but what is your reaction now?
I mean, I pretty much expected this. They weren't going to make a huge turnaround in one season, especially in the offseason where they did almost nothing. And the ownership has admitted to not doing anything. So, yeah, if you was expecting anything different, I don't know what to tell the people.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now. They have like two dudes. They're really young, Trey Lipscomb and CJ Abrams. Those are like the two guys I looked at. I was like, okay, I mean, they have promise. But everybody else is not that good. A lot of errors. And even the two guys I just mentioned, they made some mistakes as well. So it's really bad. I mean, last night they played the Phillies, and they were shut out 4-0. Bryce Harper had his way. He was dominant. And they're going to play the Phillies again. They're 2-5, and it just doesn't look good right now. Until they get their pitching taken care of, until they figure out a formation that works for them, they're going to continue to find themselves in this predicament.
They need to put the bat to the ball. That's what they need to do.
Bat to the ball. What is that? What is that?
Get a hit.
Get a hit. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they were hitting the ball pretty well in the beginning, but then the pitching was just bad. Now they just can't. I mean, last night they couldn't really score much. So, yeah, that'll do it on Nationals. I don't know how long we'll talk about them because it just seems like this is a lost season for them again. So, yeah, man, they don't have a whole lot of talent. They're going young. They still don't have the guys that they drafted. Those guys are still in like AA, AAA, and stuff. So until they come, it seems like it's just inevitable that they're gonna have a very hard time winning games. So, yeah, let's go on.
Once James Wood and Dylan Cruz is up, we back in action.
Yeah. Let's go. So South Carolina faced NC State yesterday. Complete dominance. It was a close game in the first half, but then they just took control after that. After the second half, the third and fourth quarter, it wasn't even close. I think they won by like double digits, pretty much.
It was like
78-59.
Yeah.
Just complete dominance. Pretty much nothing much else to say. I wasn't able to watch the first half, but I was able to watch the second half, and it didn't take me long to eventually turn the channel because they were getting cooked. It was an embarrassment, and I didn't want to watch it anymore because when it comes to women's basketball, a dominant team like that, it doesn't take long for you to realize that this game is over. So, yeah, man, they're in a championship game. Salute to South Carolina, and yeah, man. Let's go to the next news on the docket. We have men's Final Four. Let's give our picks for the Final Four for the men's side of things. Because, obviously the game is going to be on today, and then I believe Monday they have the championship game. So we have NC State versus Purdue, Alabama versus Uconn. Who do you have winning?
NC State versus Purdue. I really want NC State to win because they just the
The
Cinderella
overall.
type story,
Yeah.
and DJ Burns has been killing it this tournament.
Mhm.
But I think Purdue wins just because Purdue has been pretty,
Consistent.
yeah. And Zach
Yeah.
Edey's he's been doing his thing. He's been
eating.
doing, yeah. And
Mhm.
DJ Burns is going to be hard task to guard him. Zach Edey isn't the best defensively, so I expect DJ Burns to get his game off. But the Purdue has some other guys around him as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, as a casual college basketball watcher, I'm gonna go Purdue, and for UConn and Alabama, I really don't know. I know UConn won last year, so I'm gonna just pick them.
Mhm. Yeah, I think the safe pick is going to be UConn because they just the way that they play the game, the way that they're just fundamentally sound. They have so many guys that can get put the ball on the floor, create their own shot. They can get you from the 3-point line. They can get you from the paint. So I'm gonna go with UConn winning against Alabama. For NC State versus Purdue, this will be a close game. I just think it's Purdue's year. I just think for so long they've been trying to get to where they are now. They finally figure out a formula, a way to win. They've been hitting shots. They've been able to get the ball down to Zach Edey, and he's been able to. Albeit, I know the refs are helping him, but at the end of the day, I think that he is doing what he needs to do to get the points, to get to the free throw line, to get the rebounds and everything like that. And I believe his size, I believe his ability to get to the free throw line will be too much for NC State, and they'll win this game. But listen, Purdue, they're susceptible to losing this game. I do think NC State they definitely have a puncher's chance for sure. But ultimately, I look at Purdue, and I think they're destined to get to that championship game versus UConn. And so, hypothetically speaking, if it is Purdue versus UConn, who do you have win that game?
I don't even know.
Really?
I don't even know. Like, honestly, I haven't watched a Purdue or UConn game yet. So I'm not even sure. Well, actually, I did watch a Purdue game. I haven't watched a UConn game. So I got to see how these dudes play.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll be able to make a judgment call.
I'll give you a hint.
This is UConn?
It's UConn.
Yeah.
It's UConn.
That's what I thought.
If you've been paying attention, their margin of victory every game in the tournament has been over double digits.
Okay.
They've been blowing out teams. The last game they went on a 30-0 run. It was like tied.
I think I saw that.
So just to make it easier on your part, I think it would be very wise of you to just pick UConn.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Say less.
Yeah. So I think UConn has that. Just think they're too good. They just have too many good pieces. They can beat you from the outside. And they can beat you. They do everything right. Like they're you talking about NBA style of play. That's UConn. Like they do everything well. They play the game the right way. They make the right passes. They make the right plays all the time. So I'm gonna go with UConn. It just seems like their basketball IQ is the best out of all the teams in the tournament. I'll be shocked if UConn doesn't win a championship again. So that's just the way I'm looking at it. Let's go to the other things on the docket real quick. Angel Reese declared for the WNBA draft.
We all knew that was gonna happen.
Hailey Van Lith entered the transfer portal.
She just wasn't a good fit on LSU.
No, she wasn't.
They try to make her a primary ball handler when she's a 2 guard. She's not really a facilitator like that. Her job at Louisville, where she was her best, she was getting the bucket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was. They had her doing a lot of other things.
Yeah,
she was sort of deferring to Fly J and Angel Reese, and really, she needs the ball in her hands.
Exactly.
She needs to be a scorer.
Exactly.
And I think one of the things she needs to work on is off ball a lot. I look at Paige Beckers, and she does a really good job with moving without the ball and just being effective without the ball. I think she needs to really work on that because she's a really good scorer when she has the ball in her hands, but like without the ball, like what is she doing? So that's really what she needs to work on. Hopefully she can find a place where she can be able to do what she want to do and get back to form how she was with Louisville. Because right now it's not looking too good for her.
No.
All right. Well, let's see.
Because she is a league level talent.
Yeah, she is. When before she left Louisville, she was looked at as WNBA caliber.
Yeah.
But now we don't really know. Can she even make a team? So, and even if you're drafted, like that doesn't mean you're gonna necessarily make the team. I've seen plenty of top 5 draft picks. Oh, we
cut.
know.
Yeah,
That one girl who was dating Jalen Green. We know.
Yeah.
It happens. So even if you get drafted, doesn't mean you're necessarily gonna make the team. Rashee Rice. He was in the news. The wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was in the news for the wrong reasons. This past week, he had an accident for it was drag racing. He had it was like a Corvette and a Lamborghini. He was in a Lamborghini. He crashed into some vehicles, and then he fled the scene.
Yeah.
So not only did you crash into vehicles, you were drag racing. You also fled the scene.
Yep.
You endangered people. And you had weed in the car.
Not only had weed, he had guns in the car too. Now whether they were legal, it's Texas, so whether they were legal or not, well, they probably. But he left the weed in the car, but he took the guns.
So for the weed, it's going to be a misdemeanor in Texas. I think it's not felony; it's a misdemeanor. People say it's a felony. It's actually a misdemeanor. He had 10.8 grams.
Up to a certain, like if it's some amount of ounces. Then
he had
10.8 grams or something.
So
that's
I think it's a misdemeanor, and
pay that little fine.
But shit, that's the least of his problems. Fleeing the scene, crashing into vehicles, drag racing. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not looking too good for him. I don't think he can escape this one. Because you know how, like, for whatever reason, these NFL players, they get into trouble and they find a way to get probation. They find a way to get out of having to go to jail. All these charges, it's going to be very tough. If he gets away with it, I'll be shocked. I'll be very shocked. That just lets me know the legal system is just, I mean, we already know
Roger might make the call. Who knows? Or whoever the Chiefs owner is.
I mean, we already know the legal system is corrupt, but it's like, damn. It's really corrupt. And he's a black man.
Yeah.
So it's.
I don't think he ain't killed nobody, so
No,
he might get
nobody,
off.
So I mean, that's thank God.
Yeah.
He wasn't, and he was sober.
Yeah,
he didn't have any alcohol. Yeah. He didn't have. I don't know if he had any weed in the system, but he didn't have no alcohol in the system. Luckily, so that's good. Nobody was severely injured. I mean, there was some people that were injured, but nobody was severely injured. So I don't know. It's just a lot of charges.
Yeah, it's just. Well, the Chiefs is looking for a wide receiver.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
If they don't, then that would just be malpractice on their part. Like you have to get. You have to.
Kansas City, we got pick 24 for him. You could trade up, get AD Mitchell if you want.
Nah, don't do that. Just wait until. Cause
He ain't making it to 30 or 32.
They got all these receivers in the draft. They can wait to get a receiver. Just like they were Rashee Rice last year. They can wait for a receiver.
That is true.
So, yeah, man. Luckily, this is a perfect year to. If you need a receiver, it's a perfect year to.
We got
look
you.
for one.
It's like 10 of them this draft.
Xavier Legette. I mean, shoot. I doubt they go out to Keon Coleman, but like Xavier Worthy. Like you got some receivers, man. You got some choices. Okay. All right. Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, man. What's going on with the Milwaukee Bucks? I mean, they lost 3 in a row to lottery teams. They lost to the Toronto Raptors last night. They lost to, was it the Wizards?
Mm-hmm.
And then they lost to who was the other team? They lost to another bad
Grizzlies.
team. The Grizzlies. Damn. What's going on with the Bucks?
Well, it's a combination of multiple things. One, they're hurt.
Mm-hmm.
2, Doc Rivers, and 3, they just aren't playing their game. I don't understand. Like, they're not playing their game. I don't really know what's wrong with these dudes. It's like even when Giannis does go out there and perform, the other dudes are stinking up the joint.
Yeah.
And then when Giannis is having an game, they still sneaking up the joint. So it's like, well, and then they ain't really playing no defense. Well, as you know, the defense did get better, but it's still not where it should be at. It's just a whole bunch of foolishness on that court. I don't even watch them games no more.
I think you jinxed them.
The East is just god awful. Like seriously, we might have to do 1 through 16 at this point because this conference stuff is just.
They're never gonna do that. They're never gonna do that. Unfortunately, like we've been calling for that for years, but they're never gonna do that because the old ways, the old formula.
Either expand or 1 through 16. Dad,
traveling and the old ways. They're not gonna do that at all.
They gotta find something. They need to expand and move a team from the West to the East or something.
I agree with that one. They do need
ridiculous.
to move a team. They do need because some of these teams in the West are not Western Conference.
Timberwolves.
Exactly. Yeah. The Pelicans.
Yeah.
Like, you live in Louisiana. That's not Western Conference.
No.
Memphis.
Yeah.
Come on now, Memphis. Like that's not Western Conference. Where did that come from? So. Yeah, some of these teams they're not Western Conference, but I don't see them doing that anytime soon for the immediate future. Like it has to be something drastic. Like I remember the East back when LeBron was with the Cavs, like it was so weak. I remember they had conversation about that, but they didn't budge at all. Adam Silver didn't budge at all. He was like, nope.
You mean David Stern?
No. Adam Silver's too.
Oh.
Yeah. Remember Adam Silver took over the league in like 2014, and LeBron, he went back to Cleveland.
Oh, the second time.
Yeah, the second time.
I
when LeBron was with the Cavs first time, the East was pretty competitive for some times, but like when he came back, it was just terrible. Yeah. It was just awful.
It was pretty much just the Raptors.
Yeah, it was just awful, and so even with Miami, his last year is pretty bad. Because I remember that he played Charlotte and all these other teams and stuff. Like it's really like Indiana and Miami for the most part. Because Boston was pretty much done. They traded away Pierce and Garnett and stuff like that. So yeah, man, that's that. I remember those conversations, but I don't see that happening. All right, that'll do it for the news update of this week. Let's get to the main topics of things. I want to go to Iowa versus Uconn game that happened last night. What a finish. Wow. The game, it wasn't the prettiest, I will say, because Clayton Clark and what's her name? Paige Buchers, they didn't shoot the ball particularly well. I will say the fourth quarter, they did start getting going, specifically Clayton Clark. She made some huge shots late in the game. Her teammates also made some really good shots as well. I was like, damn, like I forgot her name. Matter of fact, let me look at this. Let me look at the box score.
Something Martin.
Yeah.
One of the girls, her name was I forgot.
Yeah.
It's something Martin though. I forgot. I said they got some hoopers over there.
Yeah, they were hitting some tough shots. I was like, damn, okay. What's her name? Kate Martin.
Yeah, Kate Martin.
Yeah, she actually averaged just 13 on the team. But yeah, she was hitting some really tough shots late in the game. I'm like, all right. I was like, all right. And then you had what's her name? Hannah Stuick? I think that's how you say her name. She that was the girl I told you.
Yeah.
Because you were like, do they even have any black women on the team? I was like, I mean, the center maybe. And so yeah, she got it going.
She almost sold at the end though.
She did. That was a bad pass at the end.
But I mean, that was a bad possession.
It was. Caitlin Clark, she explained that she saw that Paige, her back was turned. So she decided I'm going to pass it to Hannah because Paige back was turned, and obviously a center versus a guard.
Right.
It's a mismatch. But then the center made the wrong decision in trying to pass it, and that's where the turnover came by. I would have wished Caitlin Clark to take the last shot, but it wasn't the worst read in the world, and they probably would have doubled her.
I mean, she was shooting everything else. She might as well try to take the last shot.
But yeah, I think they were about to double her.
Yeah, they was about to trap her.
So
Or double.
She passed it out. I mean, it wasn't the worst read in the world. It was just the center just made the wrong pass, and so that was really it. And then obviously UConn at the end of the game, the controversy behind the moving screen. At first, I didn't think it was a moving screen, but further evidence shows that the girl didn't plant her feet. She was still moving a little bit when trying to make the screen. So it was the right call at the end of the day. A lot of people felt otherwise. LeBron James felt otherwise.
Of course he did.
Diana Taurasi, Breonna Stewart.
Of course, the
and,
UConn people.
Yeah, the UConn girls, the Hall of Famers. They were watching the game. They didn't feel that way. But ultimately, that was the right call.
Yes, but
Here we go.
first and foremost, Paige is supposed to run the defender into the screener to avoid the moving screen because she went wide on the off the screen for whatever reason. But you can't make that call in that moment.
Oh, come on.
You can't make that.
It's the right call.
You can't make that call there.
Oh, really? Oh, so,
No.
So I remember on social media they showed a play, the Saints versus the Rams. They were like,
That's blatant. That's egregious.
It was like, oh, you want the players to decide the game? Well, this is what happens when the
That is
players decide the
egregious.
game.
No, that's not that. That is apples to oranges. That right there. First of all, the screen didn't prevent her from going over it. Like even though she
still a bad
moved, she
call.
still went over the screen.
It's still the right call being made.
Oh,
it's a moving
goodness.
screen. So when Dez didn't catch the ball, but people believe he caught the ball, that was the rule. It was the rule. But people say, "Oh, Dez caught it." Dez, no, he didn't.
He caught the ball.
No, he didn't.
Caught the ball.
No, he didn't. It's
He
the
caught it.
rule. It's the
They
Calvin
came out
Johnson
and said
rule.
that he caught it years later.
But it's the
even
Calvin
with the
Johnson
rules,
rule.
even with the
Yeah.
rules, they
Oh,
said
why
he
it take
caught it.
Years later? Why it take years later? Though?
I don't know why they did that. They should have just said nothing.
Nah, I think they were trying to appease.
You can't make that
Cowboy
call in that. I'm sorry, you can't. You can't do it.
Come on now, man.
If she like real live, like scoot over, like pushed her or something, okay, you can make that call. If it was like egregious, but come on now, we see how many moving screens throughout the course of a game, and then
NBA.
and that's what they want to call it right there.
NBA.
Come on, I don't agree with that.
It's NBA.
You got to let them play.
It's NBA, man. That's the NBA though.
It happens in all levels of the game.
But NBA is most egregious. Specifically, Golden State, they get away with it all the time,
Yeah.
and
But
you weren't complaining.
Anywho.
Yeah, exactly, because
Anywho.
it was LeBron James.
Actually, I did complain sometimes.
Oh,
though,
stop it.
like that, like when they just played the Mavs, it was like 30-some seconds left, and like it was some crazy screens. I was like, what in the world is going? I saw a clip on Twitter. I said, there's no way they got away with that. But yeah, man, you can't make that call. I'm sorry, you can't make it in that spot. I don't agree with it. Yeah, I mean, I agree the call, it was a offensive foul, moving screen. I just don't think you make that call in that moment. Let the players decide the game. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just what it is.
Okay.
But then again, UConn did have another opportunity.
Yeah, they did.
Caitlin missed the free throw. They didn't get the rebound.
They didn't get the rebound.
And also, before that play even happened, a couple plays before that, Paige missed a wide open three in the corner. Like she was like wide open. I was like, dude, she got it in her. I was like, ooh.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They had all those opportunities.
So there were opportunities UConn could have took advantage of, but that call right there, that just screamed Vegas. Like that
Vegas.
call right there just screamed it.
But
It just
was the right
screamed.
call.
Yes, but it screamed Vegas. How often do you see that? Be honest.
God.
Have you how many times have you seen a call like that get made?
How many times in women's college basketball? How many times have you seen a moving screen like that in the biggest of moments? I can't.
Did you
recall.
notice that before they called it?
That's because it happened so fast.
Oh.
It happened so fast I could barely see it. At the first replay, I thought her feet was planted, but I was wrong until I got a better view, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that was the right call. It was the right call.
It was the right call, but it wasn't the right call.
It was the right call."
The streets needed to see how that last shot would have played out.
I'll say this. I do want the players to decide the game. I agree with you on that. But at the end of the day, it was the right call. You can't blame the refs. You can't say, oh, it was rigged. It wasn't. It was the right call. It was a textbook right call. Now, if her feet was planted, then I'd be like, that's BS. You know what I mean? If the refs pulled some shit like they did with the Lakers versus the Celtics a year ago in December, where they hold us, I would have been like, all right, that's BS. It's rigged. The refs are definitely on Iowa's side. Especially, I remember that game like it was yesterday. Ooh, boy. That one ref, his entire family were Celtics fans.
Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday. So, and they got rid of him because there was an investigation about it and everything. So, unless something like that happened, I mean, I'm not really going to fault the refs too much. I'm just happy we get to see South Carolina versus Iowa. I'm glad we get to see the better story. I did not want to see Uconn. I'm sorry. I like your page, but I did not want to see Uconn versus South Carolina. I'm sorry. I want to see Caitlin Clark. See, this dude was rooting like hell against Iowa.
Yeah. Real hater.
Yeah, real hater. I don't know.
It is not even Caitlin Clark. It's the team.
Oh man, because they don't have no black players.
No, they just a popular team, so I just was like hating.
You just like rooting against the popular teams.
Most of the time, yeah.
See, he's the
except
type,
the Chiefs.
He's the type that loved the Final Four last year, where it's like a bunch of Cinderella teams, even though it was one of the worst Final Fours. Like he'll be like, yeah, I want Cinderellas, but he not even gonna watch the games. He's just like, I just want the Cinderellas to win, but you're not even watching the games. It's like, come on now. All right.
Hey, I did watch the games last year.
And then he was like he liked that the Nuggets and the Heat made the finals, even though I was like,
as long as it wasn't the Lakers.
I was like, at first,
or the Celtics.
I'm like, that's such a boring matchup.
Listen, I was rooting for anything besides Lakers and Celtics to make the finals at that point. So,
well, it was a terrible finals.
Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well. Hopefully this year is different.
The way it's looking, I can't take none of these teams serious.
All right. Well, let's transition.
You know it ain't gonna be the Lakers in the finals.
Let's transition to So, Bronny James has declared for the NBA draft. This happened a few days ago. Now, although he declared for the NBA draft, he can always come back to college.
Yeah.
So, when I first heard the news, I was like, Bronny, what you doing? Like, you're not there yet. You're not ready to go to league. But as more information came out, it was like, oh, well, just because he declared for the draft does not mean that he can't go back to college. That doesn't mean he can't go back to college and play again and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So he'll probably get some NBA scouts to evaluate his game, see if he's ready or not. And that's about it. And then also you have to look at it from this perspective. Hearing reports about this might be the worst NBA draft ever. He might get some consideration in the draft of getting picked earlier than we may realize. So that could be another possibility where, because it's one of arguably the worst NBA draft ever by a lot of NBA scouts, a lot of NBA execs, he may get overdrafted in this situation. So I think it's a good move. What is your reaction to Bronny declaring for the draft?
I mean, why not test the waters? I mean, I don't have a problem with it. It seems like he talked this over. It's like a calculated decision. It doesn't really do any harm. I think he's also into the transfer portal as well. So even if it doesn't work out, he'd essentially be a free agent for college teams. So, I mean, I don't see an issue with it. If they don't think I'm ready, okay, back to college for another year.
Yeah,
I don't really see a problem with it.
I think it's a smart move. I think LeBron, I think Rich Paul, all those guys, they probably went in his ear and said, hey, why not just see what the league and everything like that view you? And so I think it's a good move. I was hearing stuff about, Bronny's game is not meant for college. I don't know what the hell that means.
Jeff T, he be saying some stuff sometimes. I kind of get what he was saying. He was pretty much saying that
Paul Pierce is.
It wasn't like his game isn't like super flashy.
Nah.
It's not going to get him drafted probably in like the top 20 picks or so because he's not putting up 20 a game or 15, even 15 a game. But he said in the league, GMs would like his style of play because he's more of a role player kind of guy.
Yeah, I get that. I do, but at the same, because I believe he talked about how like, yo, you gotta, when you go to college, you gotta score, you gotta get buckets, in order to like really be looked upon as like an elite prospect, as a guard his size. And he makes a compelling point. I'll say that. Because for his size, for his position, you do have to get some points. You do have to get some assists. Because if you're like a wing, you don't necessarily have to average like 15, 20. If you can hit a shot, if you can play good defense, you'll get drafted pretty high. Because wings are very coveted. They're very well needed. A 3D guy is very well needed, like a Mikal Bridges type. So I can definitely see that. And I mean, he makes a compelling point. I will say that. I just think that it would do him wonders to go back to college.
I'm pretty sure he'll go back.
Because I just think that right now he needs to develop some more, get more time, get more playing time, get more touches. And I do think he should transfer. He is transferring. I mean, he's in the transfer portal. But go to a team where they could utilize the services and develop him the right way. What team is that? Who knows? But
get him involved more.
Yeah, I think he's been like his game. He's not a natural point guard per se. Like he's not one of those dudes that's going to dominate the ball and get a ton of assists. So his game is very confusing in times because I'm trying to figure out like what is he like, what is his like full potential.
Frank Ntilikina second.
I've heard Drew Holiday, but but Drew Holiday, like he's aggressive offensively, like he could be aggressive offensively. I don't see that from Bronny. He's very passive. So I'm trying to figure out what is his game, like what is he? Like, is he just a role player? Is that all he is? Or can he be more than that? That's where I'm a bit confused. I also heard Lonzo Ball at times, but I don't know. I don't know if he's Lonzo Ball.
No, Lonzo was going crazy at UCLA.
I just look at him and I say to myself, can he be an aggressive scorer? Can he be somebody that you get the ball to and he's going to try to score? Or is he just going to defer a lot? And that's my confusion. Maybe it's because, again, first year he was recovering and stuff like that. So maybe he just didn't have the time to really develop as a scorer yet. That's why I think he needs to stay another year. Whatever program he goes to, he needs to, one, not be in a situation where he's having to defer to other people a whole lot. Like he needs to go to a program where they're looking at him as, okay, you're the primary scorer, or you're one of the top 3 scorers on that team. You're starting.
Yep.
It can't be, oh, I'm coming off the bench. Oh, I'm only going to get maybe 25 minutes. Like, no, you need to go to a team and you're getting like 30-plus minutes a game. And whatever team that is, obviously I think it has to be a big program.
Yeah. It
can't be no, I'm sorry, LeBron, but the Quizny, your former teammate, he's the head coach of the Quizny and stuff like that. Can't be something like that. I don't think Duke would be the right fit for him. Kentucky, they do produce guards, but they always have 5 stars coming in. So yeah. I don't know if that's the right way.
Will be a little tricky.
I've heard Oregon. I don't know what's going on with Oregon, but I've heard Oregon. I just think he needs to go to a situation where he can really get a lot of playing time and really develop his game as a point guard. And I don't know what that is. I really don't, but we'll see. I trust LeBron's team's judgment, and that's really all I could really say on that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. Let's go to the next topic. I want to go to let's go to the NBA standings because a lot of stuff has developed since last week. The Lakers are still in the 9th seed. The Warriors are still in the 10th seed, but there has been
I
some.
can't believe people try to sell us that Rockets crap. Y'all should have known that brick was dead on arrival.
There's been some movement in terms of wins and losses. I'm looking at a few teams right now where I think they are in jeopardy. The Kings, specifically the Western Conference, the Kings and the Pelicans look like they're in danger of possibly missing the playoffs. I'm looking at the Kings right now. They're the A seed. They're tied with the Lakers. If the Lakers win tonight, they will be the A seed. The Pelicans. I said this last week. I'm like, yo, I get right now, like Zion's playing well, even without BI, but I was like, I don't know if they can continue this. And they've lost, I think, their last 3 or 4 games. They lost to the Magic. They lost to the Spurs. They lost to the Suns. Now, Zion didn't play the last game. They lost to the Celtics. So they've nosedived. They've really nosedived. And the Lakers play the Pelicans later this year. I think they played them the final game of the season. So that's going to be a huge game. The Phoenix Suns are winning. And this is another thing that frustrates me. It seems like all of these teams that are facing, all of these teams that are going up against Western Conference teams that are like teetering between the play-in and the 6th and 5th seed, it seems like they're sitting their players. It seems like they're conspiring against the Lakers for whatever reason. Because I'm trying to figure out, why is it when the Lakers play these teams, they have all their players healthy. No stars are sitting. But when they face the Lakers' enemies, oh, they sitting out this player. Oh, they sitting out this player. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I get it. It's the end of the season, so they're going to rest their players. But isn't it weird that whenever they face the Lakers, oh, these players are healthy. Oh, these players are going to play. But then all of a sudden, the next game, oh, they're sitting out like Kyle Kuzma. Oh, all of a sudden, Kyle Kuzma, oh, he's out for all these games. All of a sudden, oh, he can play against the Lakers, but then he's going to sit out the next game. Oh, RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett. He finally comes back. He plays the Lakers, and then he sits out the next game. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that interesting? I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that they're deliberately doing that, but it's just weird. It's just interesting how when the Lakers are playing these teams, they want to play us. But then when they play the Suns, when they play the Kings, when they play the Pelicans, when they play the Warriors, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna take a rest day. I just find that interesting.
Welcome to life as a Cowboys fan. Everybody gets up when it's time to play the Cowboys and Lakers. That's just what it is.
They love playing LeBron, man. They love playing against LeBron. I get it.
That's just how it is, man.
I get it. And even though the Celtics rested Jaylen Brown and Derek White, the Kings still lost.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. That just lets me know that the Kings are cooked food. They don't have Malik Monk. They don't have Kevin Huerter. So that scoring, that shooting, they're done. They're cooked. They're cooked. And if the Lakers played them in the play-in, I'm telling you this right now. I know the Kings swept us in the regular season, but for your life, give me LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
In a one-game situation. Give me LeBron over anybody besides Jokic. I'm going to tell you that right now. Yeah, man, but the Western Conference seeding, I mean, it's very tight. It's very close. Also, the Clippers, I remember, they also lost Kawhi for a few games. That's another thing. Like, the Clippers, man, like, the Nuggets, that's another thing. The Nuggets, they're on my despise list. Teams that I despise list. Because it seems like every time the Nuggets play against an enemy of the Lakers, oh, Jamal Murray's hurt. Oh, they just cruising by. Like the Clippers. They don't have Kawhi. I get it, they don't have Jamal Murray. You lose to the Clippers. It seems like every time, like they just opt. They opt. I don't hope for the best for the Nuggets. Like they're op to us. Like for real.
Brother.
They swept us last year, and then all of a sudden, every time they go up against one of our enemies, they want to cruise. They want to lose to the Suns that were struggling. Like, come on, man. Like, why do they always do that? Anywho, but yeah, man, the Clippers, they got it easy. They be getting these cupcake ass schedules. They did lose to the Kings on April 2nd. But the Nuggets, man, like the Nuggets and the Jazz, like how dare you? How dare you? But anywho, the Mavericks.
He thinks everyone is against the Lakers.
I swear they are. The Mavericks, I don't see them losing that 5th spot because their schedule is pretty light. I mean, they have the Rockets, the Hornets. I think they could beat Miami, the Pistons, the Thunder. So I do not expect the Mavericks to have to go to the play-in. I expect them to be in that 4th or 5th seed spot. Phoenix is an interesting one because they beat the Timberwolves. They have the Pelicans. I think they beat the Pelicans. They have the Clippers twice. They have the Kings and the Timberwolves. That's interesting because all of these teams are fighting for position.
Yeah.
Like the Timberwolves, they're trying to get that number 1 seed. The Kings, they're trying to stay out of the play-in. The Clippers, they're trying to keep their seeding as well. So those games, I wonder how those other teams are going to look at it. Are they going to sit some players? Are they going to continue to fight for position? Who knows? So I think when it comes to the Suns, the other team is going to determine their fate because I look at the Suns and I say to myself, they're too inconsistent. They're too erratic. One game they look dominant. The other game they might fold to the Thunder without Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So the Suns, I think it comes down to what the other team does. Golden State, you already know how I feel about Golden State. I think they're cooked food. I think they don't have the talent. I don't think they have the talent. I know they have Steph. But Klay Thompson, he's falling off.
Yep.
Draymond Green, he might get kicked out of a game so often. Like he be getting technicals left and right. Already mentioned the Sacramento Kings, the Pelicans. They're just not healthy with Brandon Ingram out. The Lakers, listen, handle your business. This is tonight, Lakers. Handle your business. You playing the Cavaliers. The Cavs, man, the Cavs are not a threat. I know they're a top 5 seed, but the Cavaliers, they're just, for whatever reason, even with Donovan Mitchell, they're very inconsistent. So handle your business tonight. If you handle your business tonight.
It's not even a night game. It's just today.
Handle your business today, man, at 3:30 against the Cavaliers. Because you can't continuously have other people controlling your fate. You got to control your own fate. Do it tonight and you control your own fate. That's all I got to say on that matter. And
please lose.
No, please win. Please win.
We are tired of the Lakers.
No, you're tired of the Lakers.
We are tired of the Lakers.
You're tired of the Lakers. You're tired of the
We've
Lakers.
seen enough.
I will say this, though. I was talking to my cousin about this. Because we was watching the tournament, the women's tournament. We watching UConn versus USC, and one thing I noticed about that game is just how much better the women's game is compared to the men's game.
As far as what?
Fundamentals. Let me tell you something. So I was watching Paige Beckers, and her ability to move without the ball, understanding stuff like that, making the right reads, making the right passes. I was just like, where's this in the men's game?
I'm telling you, it's because the men's game, they can rely on athletic ability and just skill, whatever it was, skill and athletic ability.
And remember the whole conversation about, AAU ball is ruining everything. I'm looking at the women's game. And I'm like, they have AAU ball too.
A few of them be playing with the boys and stuff.
And they're more fundamentally sound. They seem like they're well coached. So what is it then? What is the reason why the women's game at times just looks better than the men's game? What's going on? If they both have AAU, if they both are in AAU circuits, what is going on?
The coaching. It seems like there's a more emphasis for the women's side on like the fundamentals, but the men side they just like get a bucket or just
Or maybe the men. I don't know. I don't know if it's coaching. It's weird, man. It's really weird. Who knows? Like I will have to talk to somebody that's in that sort of realm, because I'm wondering, is it actually coaching, or maybe the players aren't just putting their best foot forward? Maybe the players aren't really doing their due diligence, trying to make themselves better, trying to improve their fundamentals. Because I see a lot of times, like, a lot of these players coming out of high school that rely on just athleticism, rely on just their talent alone, while the women, they have to really develop their fundamentals, like the simple stuff, like bounce passes, different passes, being able to come off of screens and stuff like that. They have to really rely on that, while with the men, it's more so, well, I'm so quick, I could go off my first step. Oh, tween cross, step back.
If I'm late on the assignment, I can at least like be a twitched up athlete and just go try to recover as best as I can. You missed that assignment on the women's division. You gave up an open layup.
So maybe it's not necessarily the coaching. Maybe it's just the men are lazy. Maybe it could be that. Maybe it's because they just think that, oh, I'm all good. I can rely on my talent. I don't really need to watch a whole lot of film. I don't really need to work on my fundamentals like that. Maybe the women are just hungrier. Maybe that could be the case. I'm looking at Juju Watkins. You compare her game to the men's game. It's not many dudes playing like Juju. It's not many dudes moving like Juju. You know what I'm saying?
Juju's nice, man. She's going to be a monster.
She's going to be, man.
By her junior year,
she going to probably average 35. She cooking on them girls.
She plays the game so smooth.
Exactly, and you don't.
She plays like a dude. Honestly, she really moves like she been playing. She grew up playing against
only dudes.
all her life.
Yeah, I bet she did.
And she do be training with booking them. So.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, maybe we always blame the coaches, but maybe it's the players. Because if the women are more fundamentally sound, maybe it's not necessarily the coaches, but more so the players have to hold themselves accountable. Because I'm looking at it nowadays where this coddling of players, I've heard it before in podcasts and all this other stuff about how these athletes nowadays, these basketball players, these men's basketball players nowadays are getting coddled so much that when they enter the league, they feel entitled. And when a coach is disciplining them, they react a certain way rather than respect the coaching, respect the teaching that they're trying to give to them. And that's why, nowadays, the whole old coaching style where, you're yelling in their face and all this other stuff, like, it's like players aren't responding to that. They take it as a sign of disrespect. They're fearful. Like, while in the past it wasn't necessarily like that. That was just the
standard,
norm. Yeah. So maybe it's not necessarily the coaches. Maybe it's just the players. If the women
just could be outworking them.
Exactly. But yeah, NBA. I want to get to one last thing regarding the NBA, and then we'll go to the WrestleMania real quick. The NBA, I want to ask you this, because something else came across. What is the best NBA? What would be the best NBA Finals matchup for the future of the league?
At this point, I don't even know, man.
I'll tell you one.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll tell you one. I think the this year's NBA Finals, what the league should want is Timberwolves versus Celtics. You know why?
Why?
Because you need players. You need players to take the torch from the old guys.
I agree.
And in order to do that, you need young guys to make the finals. You need young guys to show themselves in the biggest of moments. You need to promote those players in the biggest of moments. I look at Anthony Edwards. I look at Jason Tatum. And those are two dudes that should be taking the torch from the LeBrons, from the Stephs, from the KDs, etc. Because they're in their 20s, they're young, and they're going to represent the league years from now. They have a certain personality. They have the image that you look to and say, okay, they have the game. Also, when I look at the years prior, what position do normally you look to and say, oh, that's the face of the league? Wings, because normally they're athletic, their game is fundamentally sound. The Jordans, the Kobes, the KDs, the LeBrons, the Larry Birds, and Jason Tatum, they're wings. One is a guard. I think it's very imperative for the Timberwolves and the Celtics to make the finals, because that can really help the game going forward if we have those two teams. Because number one, Minnesota is not, it's not a popular, it's not one of the big,
it's not a big
markets, but they have a guy who has that personality, that has that charisma, that has that game, that is very similar to a Kobe, to a Michael Jordan. He has the athleticism, the fundamentals. He has the personality. Jason Tatum, he has that sort of blue collar, that sort of perfect sort of image. Like, he can't do nothing wrong. He has that
with the Duke,
that the kid, the kid, and he has the he plays a position that's very popular, that sort of resembles the T-Max, the Kobe's, the Kevin Durant's, and etc. that people like. So I look at those two teams. If we're talking about the future of the league and trying to advance the future of the league and looking for faces, you have to have those two teams. If you don't, then I think it will be just bad for the league. Like, I like the Nuggets, but I believe the league will be better if the Timberwolves make the finals rather than the Nuggets. I'm sorry. Because also, I believe those two teams are evenly matched. They both have a lot of talent. They both have questionable IQs at times. So
especially when the game late down the stretch is.
So, like, you could say, okay, I mean, they both can have questionable decision making. I don't look at both of these teams and I say to myself, oh man, one team is just so much better when it comes to late game situations. While if the Nuggets are playing, it's like, oh well, the Nuggets, their IQ is so much far superior than any other team in the league. I look at these two teams and I say to myself, if they both make the finals, I believe the series will go 7 games. I believe both teams are they have like certain deficiencies that will require each team to have to really be on their P's and Q's. Like, I just think that matchup is perfect for the NBA Finals.
Yes, I would agree with that. But let me pitch something to you right quick.
Okay.
I just recently I saw the newest Godzilla movie last week.
Here we go.
And we all know what Kaiju Titans.
Yeah.
Titans.
Mm-hmm.
And the two Titans I can think of right now that the league has been dying to see, we just haven't seen it. It's Jokic
Versus Embiid.
and Embiid.
Okay. Yeah.
And it would be a great story if Embiid comes back on the verge of collapse for the 76ers to go to the finals and go against Jokic. We haven't seen that matchup in how many years?
Since the 90s. In terms of two dominant centers.
I'm just talking about that too, and Jokic versus Embiid in general. What, 4 years?
Okay.
3, 4?
Yeah.
That would be a fantastic matchup.
Okay, I agree with you on that one.
And I think this type of battle could honestly, it would do way better than the freaking last year's finals. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, it would definitely do a lot better.
Titan on Titan, we need it. But other than that, I would agree with the Timberwolves and Celtics. Honestly, I'll tell you the teams I don't want to see come out the East. I love the Bucks, but I can't trust Doc Rivers. I don't even think he's going to even get anywhere close to that. Cavaliers,
Hell no.
no. Donovan Mitchell, he's all right, but he's not really like a dude in this league.
Nah.
He's supposed to be,
Yeah, he's supposed to be.
but he's just not. Evan Mobley,
He still hasn't come to his own.
yeah.
He's still only
Darius
like
Garland still figuring stuff out.
yeah.
It's not really, Magic. I mean, they're young.
They're young.
Paolo's cool and all, but
Mm-mm.
the Knicks, I would love to see the Knicks in the finals,
hurt.
honestly. But Julius Randle out for the year. Who knows how
Mitchell
far
Robinson
they'll get.
hurt always, and
Pacers.
OG Anunoby as well.
They got some help towards the deadline, but
It's still
Halliburton is hurt. And he's playing. You can tell he's hurt because he's playing like it.
yeah.
The Heat, please no.
Oh man,
I don't want to
style
do
play
this.
is
I don't want to
boring.
do this again.
They're
Please.
boring, very
Please.
boring.
Save us the script. And I'm not even going to mention the rest of the conference. So it's really just the Celtics. Timberwolves, I really like the Timberwolves. But, man, like you said, they down the stretch. It's just, and the offense just gets so bad at times.
Yeah,
And I had questions about the offense even when they had Cat on the floor. So and now that he's been hurt and he's probably done for the year.
he'll come back first round.
Oh, he's coming
He's
back?
come back in the first round.
Okay. But, yeah, it's still like the offense is like, bruh. Something's got to shake. And sometimes he be putting up tour dates, but he gets away with it because he has aura or whatever the NBA Twitter people be saying that people like him. But you gotta look, man. Like, and then the Thunder, I like the Thunder. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's a bucket, but like they're young.
Yeah, they're young.
They're still prone to do young team stuff.
Yeah.
As far as the coaching goes, we're not too sure about that. And as the Clippers, come on now, James Harden will never sniff a finals. The Mavs would be a good. I would like to see the Mavs. I would like to see the Mavs.
Yeah, Luka. Honestly,
Luka
that's
and
not
Kyrie,
too bad one.
I would like to see that.
Mavericks versus Celtics.
Nah, Mavs and Celtics would be nice. I would like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that as well.
Kyrie coming back to Boston again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
that
would
wouldn't
like
be too
that.
bad. That wouldn't be too bad at all. What else? I mean, Kings. I'm not really sold on.
Anything below the Mavs, I'm out. Honestly.
Suns, nah. I'm just looking at it, like, I mean, you make a good point. I do think Jokic versus Embiid, you can definitely promote that. I just think with the Nuggets, they're just far superior than everybody else when it comes to basketball IQ, when it comes to late
Nick
game
Nurse ain't no
situation.
slouch.
He is no slouch, but you have to remember Embiid in late game situation. He hasn't come up that big in late game situations. And I do like Nick Nurse. He is a smart head coach. He is a significant upgrade to Doc Rivers. But at the end of the day, I think the talent compared to the Nuggets, I think the Nuggets are more talented. I don't trust Tobias Harris at all. I like Tyrese Maxey. I think he comes big. He comes up big in big moments. But Embiid, I'm still not particularly sold in him in the playoffs because he hasn't really been that great in the playoffs. And his health, like, how healthy is he going to be in the playoffs? I mean, we know he's coming back, but is he going to be that same dominant presence in the postseason compared to before he got hurt with his knee? So those are my questions with the 76ers. It would be a cool storyline, but at the end of the day, I still think the Nuggets come away victorious probably in like 5 or 6 games. While with the Timberwolves versus the Celtics, I'm looking at it and I'm saying both of these teams are prone to make some bad mistakes. Both of these teams are still not perfect.
That's a shame, though. Like the reason the game will be close is because not because of is because they both prone to do stupid stuff. Like that's what does that say about the state of the league at this point?
It says that a lot of these players are not high IQ players. They are prone to making key mistakes. There's not a lot of LeBrons. There's not a lot of Stephs. There's not a lot of I'm not even going to say KD because he be making some he be making some dumb mistakes. But it's just not a lot of guys that you can look to and say, oh yeah, they're closers. They're guys that you can trust when the game matters most. They've been there before. They understand how to close out games, and it's weird because Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they've been in those moments so many times, but it just seems like it's not consistent enough. Like you expect them at this time to finally figure it out, but their play style, the way that they run stuff, a lot of one-on-one ball isolation, it just seems like you put a lot of stuff on their shoulders, and they just can't get the job done. And I mean, Joe Mazzulla has done a lot better, but there's still things that he needs to work on. By the way, people that think that if Ime Udoka was still the head coach, that they would win a championship, I disagree, because they still have that same problem.
Yeah,
they still had that same problem with Ime Udoka when it comes to isolation ball. The Warriors were able to exploit it. I think I don't know if it was Steph or whoever on the Golden State Warriors. It may have been Draymond. Who knows? But they talked about how they had more talent, but we were just the smarter basketball team. And I think they would have still exploited the Celtics at the end of the day. I mean, Miami, they almost beat Boston, even with Ime.
Yeah.
Remember Game 7? If Jimmy Butler didn't decide, I'm gonna just win the game off a 3-point shot.
Yep, he did do that.
So.
And the Bucks took him to 7 the previous series too.
Exactly, with no Middleton.
Yeah.
So I mean, even with Ime, they weren't perfect. But yeah, man. Let's go to the final topic. I want to go to WrestleMania real quick because WrestleMania is happening today and tomorrow. I want to go to my predictions.
We will be watching.
Yeah. So there's like a card. It won't
be today and tomorrow by the time y'all see this.
Yeah.
Maybe,
so let's see here. They have the full card.
Night 2 was significantly better than night 1 in my opinion.
Really? So obviously, the main event for night 2 is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. The main event for night 1 is a tag team match between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. To decide the rules for night 2 main event with Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, if they're going to do bloodline rules or not. So my prediction for night 1's main event, the tag team match, I believe The Rock and Roman Reigns is going to win that match.
I think so too.
Yeah, because it adds drama.
Mm-hmm.
It adds that unpredictability.
Exactly.
That, The Rock and Roman Reigns won, so now it makes Cody Rhodes look bad. It puts doubts in everybody's minds and everything. I just think that's what's going to happen. And then we have some other cards. We have Logan Paul versus Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. I think Logan Paul retains. I think he retains this one. I think he's going to cheat. He's going to do something grimy that's going to have him retain. Just like he always does. I don't know if you want to give any other predictions, but I'm looking at AJ Styles versus LA Knight. I got LA Knight on that one. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. I have Drew McIntyre winning that one. Let's go Gunther versus Sami Zayn. I think I'm gonna go with Sami Zayn on this one. I think Sami Zayn. Actually, no, I'm gonna go with Gunther on that one. I like Sammy, but I just don't see it. Then you have they changed Dragon Lee? Okay, so you have Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar. I'm gonna go with Dominique and Santos Escobar. Then we have Io versus Bailey. I think I'm gonna go with man. This is I'm gonna go with Bailey on that one. And then we have the Usos. I'm gonna go with so it's Jay versus Jimmy Uso. I'm gonna go with Jay Uso. I think that's the most predictable match I can think of. Then you have the Prophets versus I forgot what their names are, but I'm gonna go with the Prophets on that one. Then we have Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley is gonna win that one. I don't see Becky winning that one at all. If they have Becky winning that one, then shame on Triple H. Literally shame on Triple H. Then you have the Judgment Day guys versus, it's like a it might be a 16 tag match or something like that. I honestly don't know. Like, this one is like, it could go either way, honestly. I'll probably go with the Judgment Day. They have the New Day on there. They have my guy, they got what's his name? The Miz and whoever. Regardless, I go with Judgment Day. And then we have they have my girls, my Black Queens, Naomi, Jada, Bianca versus Damage Control. It's a 3 versus 3 tag match. I gotta go with my Black Queens. I can't go against my Black Queens.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna pick against them either.
So yeah, those are my picks.
I'm actually on. They have a prize pool thingy on DraftKings for predictions.
Really?
Completely free.
Oh shit! I might have to go. I might have to check that out.
Yep, completely free.
Yeah. So those are my predictions. I think that's how it's gonna go. And yeah, that's WrestleMania. I can't wait. I can't wait. Oh yeah. Also, shout out. They're not in WrestleMania. They're NXT, but they have something going on actually right now. My boys Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. This is a bonus pick. I'm gonna go with Trick Williams. Two black men main eventing NXT Takeover, Stand and Deliver. Yeah, I'm gonna go with my guy Trick Williams on that one. Future WWE superstar. Whoop
I don't
that
watch
trick.
NXT,
I know you don't watch that, but
I see clips of it. The most I see is
whoop
clips.
that trick. Whoop that trick. What? Yeah, I'm gonna go Trick Williams on that one. But yeah, those are my predictions.
I know who he is. Yeah,
those are my predictions.
I don't watch wrestling enough to make predictions. So
Okay. I mean, that's why I said if you want to predict the main events, go right ahead.
yeah. I said night. We just doing night one.
No, you could do night 2 as well. Whatever matches you can.
Okay,
you
I'm
predict,
only
go right
commenting
ahead.
on the stuff that I feel like I'm confident in. I think Rock and Roman wins tonight. Like you said, the build suspense and drama. Obviously the triple threat match. I'm gonna go with Jade, Bianca, and Naomi because this is Jade. This is her first match. Yeah, first match. So I think they're gonna want her to get win that one.
Yeah.
For Jimmy versus Jay, I think Jay just has all the juice right now.
Yeah.
I think he just wins outright. Night 2 though, I think Cody wins.
Yeah.
I think he completes the story. Roman Reigns gets to take his break. Maybe get in the hyperbolic time chamber. Who knows? We don't know. And yeah, I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
As far as everything else, I really don't care enough.
Yeah. I agree with you. They're gonna have a draft
Yeah.
right after. I can't wait for that because depending on who wins the belts will determine the draft, in my opinion. So like Drew McIntyre, if he wins, and if Cody wins, because you don't want to have the heavyweight and the Universal Championship
On the
same show. So they're gonna have to break them up. Maybe have Drew go to SmackDown and have a feud with somebody. So depending on who wins the belts will be very interesting because I want my man's LA Knight from Hagerstown, Maryland to get one of these belts now. I want him to get the heavyweight or something. They keep honing my guy. I mean, AJ Styles, I salute to AJ Styles. He's a legend in the game.
Oh, yeah.
But I need him in a title match. I need him to hold the belt at least once. Come on now, my man. He held it down for SmackDown for like 2 months straight. Like, it was him headlining SmackDown. He deserves to hold a title. That's
something.
Yeah, man. Like, but anywho, I mean, it could always be if Gunther loses, he could always go to SmackDown and have a feud. But overall, I can't wait. This is gonna be so great. But that'll do it on this episode of the Courtside View podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials as well because we post stuff on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and check those stuff out. And if you're new to the podcast, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and make sure to come back and view us again. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Courtside Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.